But at some point, we have to look in the mirror, and the same way that she's saying these Dusties need to date in their tax bracket, she needs to date in her aesthetic bracket. You better, and you better, and you Dusty, and you this, and you that. Like,
back and relax. That's scary. Meloney P.
Be honest, on a very low calorie, high protein. Be honest.
Come on, here we go.
Welcome to another episode of the That's Scary with Meloney P podcast. I am your girl, Meloney P, and we are here to have a conversation. So, on today's episode, I am a little bit hesitant. You know, I stand for my women, but if you go back a few episodes ago, I was telling you that our Black Kings were down one, right? And I have to give it to the women this week. I have to give it to the women this week. Before we get started, y'all, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, make sure you comment, make sure you like, make sure you share, and let's just have a good conversation. Also, make sure you get your Euphoria, your Nama products. Make sure you hit that link in the description. Get your Nama products, and when you get your Nama products and get your $5 off with the link, make sure you send me a DM or a message or a email telling me how the Nama products has changed your life, y'all. I'm still in my Euphoria, and listen, the name could not be more applicable because Euphoria is the exact feeling that the Nama products have given me, y'all. So make sure you hit that link in the description and get your $5 off. All right, now that we got all of that out of the way, let's get to the meat and potatoes of today's episode. So I was literally on TikTok. Matter of fact, was I on TikTok? I don't know where I was, but I saw this lady. I saw one of my sisters on TikTok, and she basically made us lose 3 points this weekend, honey. We are losing. Before I get into it, y'all, I'm going to play this video for you.
Man to pay for the date. Yes, the whole entire date. That includes my Uber to the date and my Uber back to my house. If you are a man that I'm interested in, I want to see that you can provide for me. I want to see that you can afford an Uber ride. I want to see that you can afford a nice dinner date. Like, can you afford basic things? Because if you can't afford dinner and an Uber, my transportation, you certainly can't afford kids. You certainly can't afford a house. You certainly can't afford my bills. And I got bills to pay.
All right, so I'm going to start with the nice, right? I'm going to start with the nice. So I totally respect and honor her, her having standards, her feeling like she knows her worth and, wanting a certain thing. And I totally am here, know your worth, romanticize your life, live in luxury, do all these things, right? I'm totally here for that. But I got to keep it a buck with y'all. Her asking for a man to cover her Uber to get to a date, to cover her Uber to get back from the date, to be able to pay her bills, pay for the entire date, which that I understand, provide for her listing that she has a lot of bills. How can you get on TikTok or anywhere and looking like that? Let's just keep it a buck. Let's just keep it a buck. How? Like, how are you on here making these demands without chapstick? Like, without even chapstick. Like, and I said, you know what? Let me give this sister some grace and some credit, because I feel like this has to be just a hoax. This has to be a Ashton Kutcher type energy. Like, this ain't real. So I went to her page on TikTok and I began scrolling, and then I saw another video where she was basically saying that guys who can't afford her shouldn't date her. She brings beauty, she brings confidence, she brings a warm meal, she brings femininity to these men.
She brings beauty and confidence to the table. She brings a warm meal, a nurturing soul, and the essence of femininity of a woman. And what do these men bring? Dust. because they're dusty. The only man who thinks that I'm greedy, if that's the word you want to use today, are broke. And I don't date broke boys, so I guess it doesn't matter, huh? But yes, I would agree. Guys that can't afford me definitely should avoid me, because I don't have the time, the patience, the energy, and I don't want you around me. Get from up under me and stay far, far away. Date in your tax bracket. Get you yourself a man if that's what you prefer, because a woman of my stature, my abilities, my standards, I'm just not going to waste my time. Definitely don't want to waste your time. Please, by all means, avoid me. Okay, brokies? The dust can be reserved for the people who love the dusties. That would not be me.
And that if you're not on her level, then you're a dusty. And if you can't afford to pay bills, if you can't afford to pay for Uber, then she's not even in your radar. And while I give this girl, this black queen, while I give her, credit points, brownie points for being able to, identify her worth and have certain standards, like, we got to be real with ourselves. We got to be real with ourselves. This had to be a joke. Here's the thing. I don't believe that a man should be required to pay a Uber for you to go out on a date with him. I just think that makes absolutely no sense. Now, would it be great? Yes, it was. Is it a necessity? No, it's not. This girl is out here single, trying to find her a boo, I assume, right? And I just feel like, what in the world could you think a man, specifically a black man, would look at that video and find that appealing? They're not. And my fear is that we're going to have a gangle, right? Is that what you call ducks? I don't know. Of, single 50-year-old women who are saying that they wish they would have just, I don't know if I feel like it's some type of sick trend to talk about these bills and to talk about a man should, and it's not doing us any good. And to me, it's giving crack epidemic of the 80s, right? Because to me, it's like, I was literally looking at another podcast, and there's a young lady, her name is Vivian. And I'll put her Instagram information here. She's an Asian lady. She's engaged to a very well-off man, but she's also very much well-off herself, even more than her current fiance. And when she was on another podcast talking about how, she never brought up 50-50. She only spoke about her and her man. And, it was never like he better pay because when they first met, he was making the money. She always talked about their finances. She even went as far to say that now that she makes more than her man, who is well off himself, but because she makes more than her man, she takes on a little bit more of the bills because she makes more. And she was totally fine with that. And as I was listening to her, I was like, this is embarrassing. Because I feel like this conversation of a man should is only coming from our group of people. And with our divorce rates, with our single rates being the highest out of all the demographics, it's just not leaning towards smart. It's not leaning towards family and generational wealth. And like, how can you have a family if you don't even have a partner? And I also feel like you are attracting lack to you because you talking about what you don't want. But it's like, I don't know. I just feel like it's just low frequency. I think it's low value. And I just don't understand even the thought behind posting something like this. And if you did post something like this, I really would hope that you would at least put a little bit of makeup on, put a little bit of lip chap on, put a little bit of, I don't know, like something, and I am not here to bash another woman. I'm really not. But I feel like this is detrimental to our culture because I feel like, and listen, I will put the onus on podcasters, right? Because everybody has a podcast, and people want their podcast to go viral. People want, whatever's trending. They want to talk about that. I get it because I do it too, right? But there comes a point that the people with the microphones have to take accountability and have the conversations that I keep saying are going to bridge us together, not separate us, Her calling men dusty. And here's the thing. You can't call a man dusty with chapped lips. You can't call a man dusty when your lips are chapped. And again, listen, this is all love. This is all love because I want us to win. I want us as women to win. I want to see beautiful Black families and children. And I want to see this girl, I want to see her get the desires of her heart. But at some point we have to look in the mirror, and the same way that she's saying that that these dusties need to date in their tax bracket, she needs to date in her aesthetic bracket. You know what I'm saying? Like, maybe if she was, I don't know. It's just the math ain't mathin'. The math ain't mathin'. Have your morals, have your standards, have your list. But you wonder why you're out here alone and talking about these men in this negative way. And I just feel like, I said this before, but I feel like this is giving like propaganda. Like, this is giving cocaine, drop it in the Black neighborhoods and let them go crazy. And I say that to mean that you only really see this conversation come up on Black podcasts. You only really see this conversation come up amongst, Black people and minorities. And I just feel like, read the room. Read the room. It's not working. You can have morals, you can have standards, you can have a list, but I feel like even the energy that she's coming off in these videos, to me, like, how is this feminine? Because in a later video, she says that, she brings a warm meal. She brings femininity. She brings beauty and confidence to her man. But you ain't bringing nothing to nobody because you don't have a man, number one. But then number two, where is the femininity in that? Like, it's giving masculine energy. It's giving just you better and you dusty and you this and you that. Like, And I'm saying this with love. I'm saying this because I feel like she, like a lot of women, have got on this train of, he better. But, and I get it, a man is supposed to be a provider. But I literally did a video about other things that women should be looking for in terms of a provider other than finances. Because when you looking like how you look, you turn around, you get a man, and, this man paying for all your bills, but he beating your ass, he cheating on you, he bringing you STDs. Like, make it make sense. Make it make sense. And then in the other conversation, I saw another video recently about a woman saying that a man had to pay her babysitter bill to go out on a date with her. And I just feel like, what? Them ain't his kids. Now, it's one thing if you're referring to first date, or we're actually exclusively dating, or this is, several dates in. Maybe I understand that. And I totally understand what this first young lady was saying. She got a lot of bills, which red flag, but she has a lot of bills. And, she wants to identify a partner that if they get to a place, you got to get to the place. If they get to a place to where they are merging finances and doing these things, then obviously she wants someone who can carry that load and be a provider. I get it. But how are you even going to get to the place when you're putting out such a negative, low vibrational, low frequency energy about what you not going to have and how he got to pay? Like, you ain't got no car. You ain't got no car. Now, here's the other flip of that coin. Ain't nothing free. Ain't nothing free, ain't nothing free. So if you're on some, I'm going to give you this, if you give me that, vibes, then, hey, sell your services. But I just don't think that you're here to sell services. I think that you're truly here to, find your forever partner. And again, I have to say that I agree with having standards. I just don't think that this narrative that a lot of women are pushing out here about a man better, a man better, a man better. I just don't think it's serving the right purpose. I feel like it is 100% dividing black men and black women. I think that is putting a very nasty taste in, black men's mouths when it comes to, black women. And it's just unfortunate because women like this, here's the thing. I've only known really 2 women in my life who spoke like this and said, a man better, he got to pay 50%, he got to do this. I've only really heard 2 women speak like this out of every woman I've ever met. And I feel like because this type of toxicity is a popular conversation, it's almost like they are speaking for the majority of us when they're truly the minority. I look at my friend circle of women, all of them are successful. All of them have great over 6-figure jobs. All of them are married. All of them, are happy with their husbands and their beautiful brown families. And none of them ever came to their husbands of all my friends been married for at least damn near 10 years. So I feel like that's the picture that we should be painting. Now, granted, again, I'm trying to not be partial. One of my friends that's been married for, I think 15 years, she always kind of argues this point as well. And her husband always says that, men want a woman that's going to build with them. And I think the other side to that is that depending on your age, and I really can't even tell this girl's age by her video. But depending on your age, I understand, having a list, maybe an internal list in your mind. Okay, you know what? These might be red flags, or this really isn't the kind of man or woman that I want. I totally understand that. But I feel like when you are of a certain age, those things, you should be able to go out on a date, use your grown senses, use your adult senses and be like, you know what? I don't think this is going to be the person for me. But making these demands in such an aggressive way, I just feel like it puts all of us black women in this deficit. And it's not all black women. You know what I'm saying? It's not all black women. And here's the key. A lot of these women who be online talking about a man better, a man better, a man better are alone and they're single. And you know what I'm saying? A man better, a man ain't got to because you ain't got no man. And out here, I'm not saying that you got to have a man. I'm not saying that a man means anything. But if you're on here with your list and your demands for something that you don't even have, trust me when I say, because I've been in those shoes, these years be going by. You're going to look up, you're going to be that lady with them damn cats. Let me just emphasize, have your goals. But at least present your goals and your demands in a softer way. Why she sound so angry? Why she sound so angry? I don't know, y'all. Listen, it is what it is. I done had me some coffee. I got a little bit of caffeine in me. That's just what I'm feeling. Listen, let me know your thoughts. Let me know if you believe that a man should be paying for your Uber to get to the date, should be paying for your Uber to get home, should be paying for your babysitter. You got to make sure he can pay your bills for that first date. Let me know what you think. Keep it nice in the comments because I will block you. Thank you guys for this episode, and I will see you in the next one.